Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Michigan International Speedway here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting with the NAISCC Cup Series M.A Amodeo 300 here at Michigan, brought to you by, and I had it, man, what a great impression for a first broadcast here, brought to you by M.A Amodeo Trucking. Established in the mid-'80s, this family-owned company has a proud heritage of trucking in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Amodeo has a culture of pride for country and dedication to its people. M.A Amodeo, see what happens. Check them out, M.A Amodeo Trucking. Also brought to you by the SimBox store. If you want to take your sim rig to the next level, get yourself a button box from the SimBox store today. These quality handcrafted button boxes feature 32 functions and will deliver immersion like never before. You can reach them on Facebook at SimBox store or view their box options on their eBay store. And don't forget to like their page and let them know that Freaky Fast sent you. That's the SimBox store. You really push our buttons. And also brought to you by the ButtKicker and the Gamer 2. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10-powered race car, from ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air like traditional speakers, the Gamer 2 provides an instant, accurate, powerful bass response, and it's all perfectly in sync with every game with no additional software required. Check out the Gamer 2 at the ButtKicker.com. Use promo code FreakyFast20 for 20% off your order of the Gamer 2 at the ButtKicker.com. And Robert Oz himself joining us here this evening. We have a winner of our ButtKicker contest from Freaky Fast, don't we? Robert was not ready for me to throw it to him, so let's bring up my cohort for the evening, Sam Dyer. Sam, what a night it's going to be here. Wonderful Saturday night in Michigan, 300 miles, 150 laps on this 2-mile oval, and I tell you what, race number 12 of the season, and things are getting dicey with the NAISCC Cup Series here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Final race of the season. That means it is crunch time. All of your regular season feats have come to this moment. You've got to make sure you keep yourself clean up front and try to get as many points as possible. We find ourselves with at least 3 drivers that have a possible chance of pointing their way into our race for the playoffs. But we have also about 4 drivers that need to get a win to get themselves into the playoffs. Top 16 in points, make it into the bracket. And right now, looking at the bubble spots right now, we find ourselves with Dakota Monzi, who's going to be one of those drivers to watch out for. He's going to be our bubble driver on 16th place. Then you've also got Austin Halsey, who's going to be one of those drivers that's 13 points away from making it into the top 16. But we also got some other drivers as also in 15th place, tied with Dakota. That's going to be Ryan Ferrero. That's going to be one of those drivers that is also on the bubble spot. Very terrified that could be knocked out points-wise here today if they don't have a good run.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too, is when you look at that long play that you have to do for seasons, it boils down to consistency. And top 10, you're looking at pretty much consistency throughout the season, and then you go 11 through about 20. Any of these drivers can really make it into the playoffs with a strong push or with a disastrous finish.
As we're looking at the 19 machine going around the course, where practice is slowly coming to an end. 24 drivers are here today, and that's meaning not a lot of points are going to be able to be earned for these drivers, and must-win scenarios now going to be popping up for a lot of them. It's going to be interesting here at Michigan, especially because it's 2 miles, Lee. That means it's going to be super speedway drafting for these drivers to deal with. And with drafting here at Michigan, it's slightly different from Talladega and Daytona because you got to worry about tire wear for these drivers. And the tire wear is going to be something that these drivers have to worry about because of it being 150 laps. With stage being on lap 50, looking like we are going to have a green flag pit stop if we stay green all the way to that lap 50.
Yeah, but still got about 10 seconds or so left in practice before we get set for qualifying here this evening. 2-lap qualifying for this 150-mile trek around Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. Temperatures outside here in virtual Michigan today, 66, 90 degrees on the track. Wind out of the northeast at 10 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy sky with a 73% relative humidity as we get set for the qualifying for the NAISCC Cup Series. And once again, Sam, because you're much smarter than I, NAISCC stands for.
It stands for the North American iRacing Stock Car Challenge Cup Series. And a lot of these drivers from the North America region and all types of stock car racing for these drivers as drivers are starting to get out there on track to start out qualifying.
Got to get set for our qualifying efforts here this evening. I think, oh, my stuff paused, man. I don't know why.
We're pausing. It's all right. Some drivers are getting set out there as we do have ourselves for qualifying 5 minutes potential for these drivers to get out there on course and put down two of their fastest lap times. And based off of practice, it's going to be Kyle Rochelle that's going to be the fastest driver out there during practice with a 37.466. We'll see if that time gets bested here during qualifying because most likely these times were based off of using the draft. Now these drivers have no draft. It's all about themselves out there on course.
It truly is, and I'm having to jump out of the press box for just a moment and jump back in. It's having a little bit of technical issues, so just got word in our ear that iRacing is actually having a few little issues as well. So it's not just me. It makes me feel better, Sam, as I do not like being felt like I'm being picked on by my computer and or internet service provider.
But technology always is going to be there trying to mess with us. As
of course
it
is.
Track.
Have you seen Terminator?
They always are trying to come at us. You don't know. The future is terrifying at times when you think about it.
It really is. When you think about what could be, we're in 2021. What's 2031 going to be like? We're talking about AI and sentient beings, and I don't know if you've watched WandaVision or not, but sentient weapons, and it could get really crazy, really squirrely, really quick. But the good things technology brought us, things like iRacing, and I had a blast today. First day, well, I've been iced in. I'm in the Nashville area, so I've been iced in all week. Wasn't able to work until Thursday. Finally got remote access, and then today was able to get on and do a little iRacing. And hate road courses, so I did some of the Indy cars at Dega and some of the Carb Cup there at Charlotte. But iRacing, one of those technology-driven assets that really has added to the betterment of life for a lot of people.
Oh, it certainly has. It's allowed people to try to just get away at times as people were getting busy. As on top of the board, going to be the 19 of Patrick Hernandez. It's going to be there as we are now watching all these drivers driving by. A lot of these machines have already put down their fastest laps so far, but the 19 top of the board right now with a 38.101. Exciting with how these lap times have been going down, especially looking at the differences of these lap times, only just by 100th, sometimes only by 1,000th.
The professor himself, Hut Stutler, jumping up to the pole with a quick time of 37.94, tying with Hernandez. Pulls it out in that thousandths of a second bracket to jump into the lead above Hernandez. Minus third, Bird in fourth, and Fauner in fifth at the moment.
It's close times. Equaled out. That is incredible to see times that are exactly the same.
Yep, and apologize for any technical difficulties. I know Facebook is having been having some issues as of late, and then I am still trying to get back into the session. It started to move again. Hooray! Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. If you don't mind, go ahead and click that like button on both sides. Give us that thumbs up. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow the page here on Facebook. And go ahead and jump into the chat. We love to know who's out there and to interact with you throughout the race. And Sam, we continue to watch qualifying. We're watching the 25 right now.
Yeah, this is going to be Martin Morales that's going to be on track here in the 25 machine. And going to be starting pretty low and interesting for a start. This is a time that this 25 is putting down. First lap here of qualifying. We'll see if we can best anyone as the 81, Zachary Crompton, going to be on top of the board with the 81 machine, beating out some of those other drivers. And we'll see if Martinez can try I mean, if Martin can cross the line and best anyone here. No. Going to be able to go up to 16th place. So that is going to be top of the board. That is going to be the 81 machine.
So we will get set for your starting lineup in just a few moments. Here from Michigan with the NAISCC Cup Series brought to you by M.A Amodeo. Zachary Compton will be taking the pole in that number 81 with a 37.909. Sean Huffstetler, the professor himself, in that number 94 will be in second position. In third, Patrick Hernandez in the number 19. Tom Sinchek in the number 8 and fourth. Dakota Manas in fifth in at number 5. The 58 of Ryan Bird will be in sixth. Mike Fodder at number 51 will be in seventh. In eighth position, Ryan Ferrero in the number 12. The number 10 of Jacob Morrison, ninth. In 10th will be Presley Sora in the number 98. In the 57, Thomas Walter in the 11th position. In 12th will be Austin Halsey in the number 4. The number 80 of Nicholas Compton in 13th. And 14th, Vincent Sora. 15th, Maurice Gamillion. In 16th, Martin Morales. 17th, Adam Westfield. 18th, Kyle Rochelle. In 19th, Danny Cochran. 20th will be Jesse Thornock. In 21st, Joshua Pike. 22nd, James Trammell. 23rd, Aaron Kralik. And in 24th, Chris Parkman in that number 11 with no time laid down. And that will be your starting lineup here from Michigan with the NAISCC Cup Series.
Yeah, and looking at the board right now, this was massive for drivers looking outside and looking in. 19th in points, Zachary Crompton needed to have a great showing here and getting the pole. Now going to have to just do all the heavy lifting, getting all the bonus points possible. Now going to have to try to lead a lap, lead the most laps, and then also get a win, a possible of about 20 points for these drivers that they could be grabbing here just based off those bonus points and not even where you're finishing.
Exactly. We're pulling off a pit road now, getting ready to get set for 150 laps of hopefully green flag with a little bit of cautions here and there thrown in. Racing from Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. I have no idea where Brooklyn, Michigan is.
Do a quick Google search here to figure out where that is. You got to challenge all of our viewers. Do you know where all of our 50 states are? As drivers getting lined up and ready to go as they're on the backstrip.
Yeah, see, I know where Michigan is, and I know it's kind of separated because the Great Lakes and all that stuff, but, you know, where Brooklyn, Michigan is, I mean, I probably couldn't even point at Detroit on a map, to be honest with you. Once you get out of the South, I'm not keen on where cities are exactly, especially if they're not like the capitals or something.
Exactly. But the things that these drivers do have to worry about, that's going to be stage 1. That's going to be at the start. I mean, at the end of lap 50 that these drivers are aiming for. And that's going to be one of those setting points. How are these drivers going to react for these first 50 laps? Are they going to be aggressive or are they going to be pretty timid here at the start?
Yep, as we get set to take the green flag.
Green, green, green.
I'm going to turn it over to Sam and let him take it from here while my computer decides it wants to have a connection.
Green flag going to be out in the air. Zachary Compton going to be leading the charge on the inside. And you're going to be seeing these drivers kind of in a pack for most of this racing as it's side-by-side racing all the way back to 4th place. Then they start to single out just a little bit here. About to be 3-wide racing and on the inside. Oh my goodness, I believe that is the professor going all the way to the bottom, trying to make a move. Not going to be able to do that. Take that back. Actually, that's the 19 machine on the inside. Going to be backing off. They're still side-by-side for the lead, and they're just going to be jockling up and down, trying to figure out where they're going to be placing themselves. Almost 3, almost 4 wide at times, battling for 4th place as the drivers are just following back. But it's going to be Zachary Crompton going to be leading that lap and getting that bonus point that is so necessary here for this final race. As the drivers, they're running as hard as they can, still side-by-side for the lead, and they're going to be staying like this for most of the race in a pack until we're about 20 to 30 laps into a run. That's when these drivers are going to be seeing that wear and tear really hit these tires, and how well have you been saving it? Ducking it to the inside. That is going to be, I believe, the 98 of Sora, which Sora has been on a tear, 3 wins this season, and going to be trying to make another charge up to the lead and almost wrecking for 3rd place. As these drivers still are challenging around, we're going through, you see on the monitor, we're drifting through the field, showing off some of these drivers. That's Morris on screen, and then going to foreign. As these drivers continue to just duke it out. I mean, the middle of the pack, a hornet's nest at the moment. There's just not a lot of space for these drivers, and this is the best time to make your moves when it's this early in a run to possibly get as much movement as possible as you're this close. Like I said, anywhere from 15 to 20 laps, that's when we're going to be seeing a lot of these drivers finding their tires, drifting off. And the drivers that are really pushing hard on the inside, going for that first lane on the inside, they are really tearing up those tires way quicker than everyone else that's running in the middle. Yes, there are about 5 lanes to work with, but those tires become so necessary to work with, as up front, almost contact between the 8 and the 98, able to hold on. But you're just seeing it 2 by 2 by 2, and some bump drafting happening as well as they're going into these corners. Amazing driving that we're going to be seeing from everyone here, but Zachary able to just get a push for himself, now up to 2nd place. Lee, how's that internet and connection and computer issues coming along? Still he's still trying to get it figured out, but it's going to be the 8 machine leading the charge. So as well as Crampton going to be battling for 2nd place. But you see here on screen, I mean, they are just drifting, and there's going to be racing from top to the bottom of these guys, as we're going to be really drifting everywhere. They are going to be staying close. Pack racing going to be one of the most important things for these drivers, staying in the draft. And also, once that green flag pit stop comes around, a little bit around lap 40 to 35. Some of these drivers might be thinking about splitting it in half on lap 25, but these drivers certainly going to be thinking about, when do I pit? If I've been saving my tires enough, do I want to push it even further or pit earlier to try to undercut these drivers? Undercutting is going to be so important. Caution in the back, though. Cochran going to be all spun out, as well as Morales in the 25, as both those drivers going off course. And you hate to see it for some of these drivers that were looking for some good days. Both Cochran and Morales were looking for good days. They were around the bubble spot. And oh man, this is horrendous for both those drivers.
Yeah, totally. And we're going to bring it back with that freaky fast carnage replay and show you exactly what happened there to bring out the caution. First caution of the evening here on lap number 7. Sora will be your leader.
Does it happen coming out of corner number 2 for these drivers? But we'll see. You know, technical issues are something that's always interesting to see, Lee. And it looks like we might have one here where we might not have the replay, but we can always do some play-by-play of what exactly happened. It looked like both Morales and Cochran trying to get aggressive. They were 3 wide in the back half of the pack, and Cochran got a little bit pinched, drifted up, and contact between the 2 drivers coming out of corner number 2. And it was Morales that got the heavy damage, slamming into the inside wall for that 25 machine, and the 2 of Cochran able to continue running. As Morales, one of those drivers that could have pointed his way into the playoffs, with this heavy damage, this is looking very hard, as now pit road is extremely busy.
It's a pit party here in Michigan with the NAISCC Cup Series. Is everybody going to come down pit road? Except for Compton. Compton's going to stay out.
Yeah, Compton might be going with the idea of, I got to lead the most laps, so the 81 machine staying out, leading more laps than everyone else, and also understanding that I don't think we're close enough to make it to the end, but Compton might be thinking something else. If he can stretch it to that 1 to go marker for these drivers, might be able to make that pit stop and make it to the end.
You know, interesting when you look at the different pit strategies that go on, especially when it's such a drastic difference. Like right now with Compton staying out and everybody else coming in, he's rolling the dice by himself.
Yeah, and what's hard is the fact that even 5 to 8 laps, even sometimes just 2 laps here at Michigan. That is a major difference compared to the rest of the field. So I'm not expecting Compton to stay out. I do believe that he'll be coming in probably this time or next time to make sure that he can get 4 fresh tires to have a slight advantage over everyone else.
Yeah, slight. I mean, yeah, but you really think about it. We're on lap 8. We went to caution on lap, what was it?
It's like,
6?
yeah, 6, 7.
Yeah. So, I mean, the tires really didn't even have enough time to get good and warm yet. So, yeah, you'll have a little bit longer of a run, but I don't think it's going to be that huge of a difference. I wouldn't be surprised to see Compton just go ahead and stay out, which he is.
I mean, yeah, you could think that it's only been a couple of laps. So some of these drivers, as well as Compton, they've been extremely aggressive going on, like I said, all the way down to the low lanes through these corners. And that's just being brutal on these tires. Yes, you can be quick for the first about 10 laps if you're staying down that low, but from 10 laps on, your tires are going to be so worn. You're going to be so behind on everyone else based on wear and tear. I don't know if this is a good choice early on for this 81 machine.
So Compton and Sora will be on your front row. Sinchek and Sora on your second row. Huffstetler and Moniz. Say that one for me.
Moniz?
Moniz. We're going to call him Moniz until he tells us the difference. Will be in your third row. Then Morrison Walter and Rochelle and Halsey will be in your fifth row. That is your top 10 as we get set to go back green. Coming down the backstretch now. Lap 9 of 150 from Michigan. Zachary Compton rolling the dice early. We was in Vegas with another league last week, and we talked a lot about rolling the dice and coming up snake eyes. Let's see what happens with Compton staying out where everyone else comes in. It'll be lap 10 when we cross the line.
Do want to give an update for Martin Morales, still in pit road trying to get those damage repair and did not utilize the fast repair. These drivers do have one fast repair to work with and decides to go with the manual repair. Now 1 lap down, about to be 2 laps down for that 25 machine.
But going multiple laps down, you've got that opportunity, especially if you're the only one that's a lap down, 2 cautions and you're back on the lead lap. So it might be worth it to save that fast repair as the pace truck will come in and we get ready to go green back here at Michigan. Compton on the low side. Sora, that 98 will be on the high side. Then you've got Sora and Sinchek right behind them as we drive it into 1. Compton with the lead. Sora on the high side along with Sora right behind him. They're going to be drafting. Sinchek drops down to the low side. 2 and 3 is going to be side by side. Look at the run by the 98. Sora on the high side coming out of 2. Coming right up door to door, 3 wide down the backstretch. And then the 15 of Sora says, I want to play 2, fellas. We're going to drive it into 3. Door to door, 2 deep, driving it out of 4 now. Sora and Sinchek, 1, 2. Sora and Compton, 3, 4 as we come out of 4, racing it to the line. And that 98 of Sora will be in the lead. Sora will be on the high side, pushing it along, trying to stay in second. We've got a little loose there. The 8 of Sinchek on the low side will be hood to trunk as we come out of 2, the front 4, looking to race it up here at Michigan, lap 11.
They were 3 wide battling for the lead. They're even 3 wide battling for 6th place as they continue to figure that out. But you got Presley Sora and Vince Sora, brothers that are going to be trying to work with one another. And you saw that for those first couple of laps, bump drafting, utilizing the draft and helping each other to make these big moves. And now they can play defensively as now Vincent is able to block and try to hold off the rest of the field for his brother to keep on moving forward.
Yeah, Sinchek's going to be right behind them. Then you've got Compton and Morris battling. That's going to be the 10 and 81. That is for 4th position. Moniz will be in 6th, Rochelle 7th, Walter 8th, Huffstutler back up to 9th. Now make that 8th as we're now looking back at the 94 of Huffstutler. He's got the 57 down inside of him. That's Walter. Those two are racing for 8th position.
It's just going to be hard racing here. I mean, this is where the middle of the pack, kind of what I would call the hornet's nest, is going to be for a lot of these drivers from 5th on back. They are just going to be scattering up and down as we are on board with the 1 machine trying to pick and choose. Do you go through the middle? There's a hole there, but the momentum not there for the 1 machine just yet.
He's going to try to hold to the high side. Compton gets stuck to the bottom. This high side groove starting to come in and work now as we drive it down the backstretch. Sora and Sora will be 1 and 2 once again. Sinchek 3rd, Morris 4th, Moniz 5th. then followed by Rochelle, Compton, Walter, Huffstutler. Now Parkman has moved up to the top 10.
As a 60 getting out of shape there, and oh boy, you do not want to be that out of shape. That is a scary spot to be finding yourself in. And actually, that was the 80, excuse me, that got completely out of shape, able to hold on, and we stay green.
Yep, go ahead and keep it there, sir.
As we continue to watch, I mean, it's interesting just to see these drivers so far. With that little bit of a scuffle that the 80 had, it's now blocked up into, now we've got two defined lead groups. This second group, they are really trying to pull away, and really the change is probably from 10th. That's when you see a lot of the drivers that are still side by side up front. And then as you're seeing here, this is the battling that's going on for around 13th place, as that 80 machine of Nicholas Compton might have had a scuffle, might have gotten loose, out of shape. Certainly trying to make a pass here, but got to be careful of blinking action, as saw the 80 blink for a second.
Yep, I'm still having troubles, fellas.
Oh no. Let's continue to watch and see. Here it's the 11 on board, as this is battling for 7th place. This is Chris Parkman, who's trying to get by the 10 of Jacob Morris, and also you've got your pole sitter of 81 of Zachary Compton trying the outside out, and the outside more preferred for the drivers that are trying to hold and save their tires. They can really let off the gas a little bit more and really carry their speed, as the drivers are going to be in, as you look on your screen once you're able to see. But as you look at these corners, the corners are able to really show the fact of the little defined lines that these drivers can be in. As you see there, the little defined lines, those grooves, you want to be more in the second and third groove to save your tires. As you're seeing the drivers that are trying to go all the way down that yellow line, it's really tempting to be down there. You can go quick for these first couple of laps, but for the long run, it really can hurt you, as you're seeing this pass going on. As that driver that's making the pass, that's 57, Thomas Walter, trying to make the moves on the inside.
Yep, 17 of 150 laps here at Michigan, as Sora and Sora will remain 1 and 2, as it's been since.
Oh no! Spinning around. It's going to be Walter and others spinning around and into the wall. Oh no, it's Parkman, who we were just talking about in the 11 machine, hard at the inside wall, as well as Walter.
Yep, brings out the second caution of the evening, as everyone starts checking up here, as we're going to try to take a look back and see exactly what happened on the Freaky Fast Carnage replay. And yet coming out, let's see here. Ooh, the 57 looked like he got a little bit loose there.
Yeah, it got loose and came up, making contact with a 10 machine. And I think just expecting to have a little bit more real estate, as both drivers hard into the inside wall, and most likely for both of them, fast repairs are going to be utilized.
Most definitely. So we will bring out a caution, as some calamity ensued here at Michigan International Speedway. Why is iRacing not liking me tonight? I don't understand.
Technology always just tries to hurt us whenever it's really needed, as we are seeing drivers most likely going to get ready for pit stops here. But the question of, will tires be utilized here, because we've already seen a set be used. Who else will think about using a set moving forward? Is mind game, some drivers coming in, others not. And first into the pits, it's going to be Zachary Compton coming in from 8th place, and we're only seeing a sparse amount of drivers deciding to come into pit road this time.
Yep, so I'm going to leave it to you guys for just a moment while we're under caution. Sam, it is all yours. I will be right back, sir. I got to run to the little boys' room out of the press box. Be right back.
As drivers are getting set here, talked about how Zachary Compton. Yeah, I mean, you can come into the booth here, Robert, and chime in here as we're getting ready. As drivers coming into the pits, Robert, you've been following and watching. You've been in producing chair. What have you been seeing that's just been intriguing to watch?
Oh, I've been seeing a lot of racing action going on here, Sam. It's been awesome to watch these guys, and you know, a lot of people don't know. Some people do know. Michigan is my favorite track. I love it. I love it on any sim that you race, especially on iRacing. But a lot of it has to do with the draft, and you got to stay behind somebody and try to work that draft, and there's only a certain place that you can go on the track. If you get down too low going through 3 and 4, as we've seen a couple times there, Sam, cars do get loose.
Oh yeah, they get extremely loose on the inside. And also want to report, just look back at Zachary Compton's pit box in that pit that he just had in the 81 machine. Did not pit on the first yellow that we had, and this time around just went with fuel only for the 81 machine. So
Wow.
surprising to see, but a lot of these drivers have already just taken fuel only. Only drivers that have taken tires so far looks to be the drivers from 17th on back, where you've got Tremmel, who's going to be leading that charge in the 20 machine.
Yeah, James there, everybody from, like you said there, Sam, everybody from 17th on back there, that's going to be interesting to watch here when we go green, because fresh tires versus, old tires is huge, and these guys are going to get runs, and they're going to have to try to figure out where they want to go, how they want to go. We've seen on all these past restarts, you go 2 wide, you can go 3 wide, so we'll have to see what these guys can do in the back here, and hopefully not get into any, like Lee likes to say, some carnage here at Freaky Fast. And before we go back green, I want to say thank you to everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook. Please let me know how the audio sounds with Sam, if I need to adjust anything, as he's new up here at Freaky Fast, and I want to make sure everybody hears the cars and the vehicles right. And here's the sweet voice of Sam talking about Michigan tonight. See how I did that,
Yeah.
Sam? Yeah, see?
Oh, it's so you're being so nice to me. It's my
know.
first time here in the Freaky Fast broadcast booth, and it's an honor to be working with you guys. I've been seeing a lot of your broadcasts, and I was like, hey, it would be awesome to work with you guys. Got the opportunity, and now we're here watching the NAISCC Cup Series, and it's exciting. New series here on the Freaky Fast broadcast side of things, and now we get to see what these drivers have as we're getting closer and closer to the halfway marker of the stage 1. And then we got a lot more racing to go. Like we said, 150 laps here at Michigan. Pace truck pulls off. We're getting ready to go, as it's going to be the Soar brothers up front. The question of how will they dice this up? Will they give room for one another, or will they just take off? And on the inside, it's going to be the 98 getting a great launch, but the 8 follows suit, not giving enough room for the 15, but moving up to the high side and trying to get in line is that 98 machine.
Yeah, going into 1, Sam, and we've got 2 and 3 racing now, with Sinchek going down to the inside, coming out of 2, looking to maybe get a run, but that high line has still got the groove, and you can see the momentum change as the 15 of Sora pulling ahead now, got almost clear, but Sinchek's going to keep his nose inside. The 98 of Sora is going to now drop down to the inside, throw a little small block there, nothing big. Racing it out of 4 and down this front stretch, and you can gather a lot of speed. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but drafting can come into a play at a place here like Michigan.
Yeah, it's a 2-mile course. Obviously, drafting is going to be utilized in some fashion. We've already seen the Soar brothers work with one another and bump drafting, try to utilize that. As you're seeing these drivers, they're going to get extremely loose, like we've already seen coming out of 2, and a lot of drivers coming out of 2 that last time by, their tail ends were shaking, and that's a terrifying feeling, that loose sensation coming out of the corners, especially with how fast these drivers are coming out.
Yep, so the 98 of Sora in the lead, his brother in the 15 right behind him. Got a little bit of a gap here, about a quarter-second gap between the 2 Sora brothers. And you got Sinchek, Rochelle, Trammell, your top 5, then Monez, Kralik, Westfield, Morris, and the Professor Huffstetler up to 10th. Now Thornick will overtake 10th position.
We talked about the 20 during the break. During that caution break, it's the fact that the 20 got those fresh tires, and now is just making a charge from 17th already up to 2nd place, and now about to take the lead.
Yep, so the 20 of Trammell, he is just bolted up. Now looking down to the inside of Sora, and will overtake that lead across the stripe. And now back behind the 8 of Sinchek, looking to the inside of the 15 as well. We race it across the line and into 1 and 2. Trammell in the lead, Sora in 2nd. And then you've got Sora 3rd, Sinchek 4th. Rochelle will be in 5th position, but Monez is not looking to give that up easily.
No, Manes is obviously going to be trying to hold that position as much as possible. Manes is one of those drivers that is on the bubble spot, needing to have a good finish here, finish inside of the top 10, top 15, and hoping to make sure to have enough points to point his way into the playoffs. But also, Dakota Monos is in a difficult spot because if some of these drivers that are in a must-win scenario, if they win, you could be finding yourself knocked out of the playoffs because of being on the bubble spot.
Looking now at the 88 of Adam Westfield. Westfield is running in that 8th position right behind Manes as we come out of 2. And one of the things about Michigan, too, is the longer the run goes, the tighter you tend to get. And so if you're running that high line and you got someone trying to come up underneath you, as the tires wear on, you start looking a little bit. You get a little more aware of how much are they creeping up that track exiting 2 and exiting 4.
As we're on board with Patrick Hernandez, going to be running back here and just kind of in a cruise control moment in 13th position, not feeling like there's any pressure to move up just yet. Still a lot of racing action to be seen, but a lot of drivers that are shuffling and dicing seem to be behind them, as really the drivers that are battling for around 18th place, they've been just slicing and dicing around one another.
Yeah, that's around
Morris, Pike, Forner, going to be all around one another. And some of the drivers that have, you see there, the 25 of Morales, who is currently 10 laps down, trying to get all those laps back the hard way. As we're looking at the 51 machine, and these drivers, they're just going to be cycling back and forth. Some of them have older tires, others have fresh tires. So they're going to be just duking it back and forth, trying to see which position they can really hold on to. But side by side, that is the great way to lose time for the drivers that are in front of them.
Nah, I'm still here. iRacing hates me right now. I don't.
In and out Lee goes. Hopefully he'll be able to stay at some point. As we're on board with 88 of Westfield. Going to be just in 9th place, and not a bad spot to be in, especially since we're coming closer and closer to the end of the stage. And these drivers just going to be kind of in cruise control as I'm looking through the field. Really, our top 10 all staying in line, not really trying anything too risky. As I say that, believe the 4 trying to make a pass on Westfield. So right now, I'm going to be trying to make as many moves as possible as that 4 machine able to make the pass. As that's Austin Halsey in the 4 machine, and excited for all these drivers. We're new to the league, so excited to see how they're going to be reacting. But a lot of drivers just all desynced for a second and are back in, and that is a massive desync from a lot of those drivers, and they're all luckily back into this thing. But there's an issue, as some of the drivers in front of them, the 98 and the 15, were inside of one another for a second there because of the massive desync. Oh no, the 57 of Walter also, they're phasing into one another, and I don't think they know that if they somehow log back in, this is going to be huge issues. And they are desyncing once again. No one knows where they're at, and this is terrifying because if you log back in and your object takes control and becomes solid again, you could be finding yourself turning the car that you log back into. But we just lost over, I believe, 5-6 drivers, and I don't know if they're coming back.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad now.
No, it's not just a Lee issue. It is a whole entire server session issue, as we just lost almost all of our front runners in one fell swoop.
Well, ain't that just handy? Someone's messing with the Matrix right now. I'm not sure exactly who it is.
We just lost. Wait. Oh my goodness. And, Tremmel is going to be one of those drivers that had fresh tires, but now is losing time, as going to be fighting with the 57 of Thomas Walter, who also has fresh tires. And so we're seeing these two duke it out. But I don't know what the admins are going to do about this, because all those drivers just got logged out. As it looks like our admins are all in discussion right now. I mean, like we said, we lost over about 6 drivers in just one fell swoop. And now there's discussions of, do we reset, what to do from this point on? We are 30 laps into the run before that happened. And just confusion. Lee, now you're not the only one having issues. I mean, does this make you feel a little bit happier on the fact that you're not the only one?
Yeah, I feel much better now. I feel vindicated. Thank you to the drivers who fell out of the server and uh, made me not feel alone anymore.
Some of the drivers trying to do exactly what Lee's been doing all race long, trying to log back in and try to get back into the session, as both Morales and Sinchek's going to be both trying to log back in, but they're going to be about 3 to possibly 5 laps down before they officially get logged into this race. This is
the Sora brothers too, didn't we?
Yeah, we lost Sora, both the Sora brothers. We also lost our pole sitter, Zachary Compton. Sinchek's gone. Jacob Morris is out, but Morris actually just got logged in 4 laps down, trying to not go 5 laps down. But again, we are still talking to the Adamants, trying to figure out what this situation is going to be about, because that is way too many drivers and a lot of our front runners that just got lots desynced and are now multiple laps down. I've never seen this scenario ever in my life. This is so weird to see.
So welcome to iRacing, ladies and gentlemen. As anything that is internet or technology based, issues can arise, and then you've got to figure you don't plan for things like this. There's not a section in the rule book, like page 87, paragraph 3, section B, subsection 28, that says if for any reason more than 3 drivers get kicked out of the server simultaneously, we'll restart the race or anything like that. You don't plan for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously real world weather implications are hitting these drivers very harshly, like it's been doing for a lot of people in the whole entire United States. So this is a real life implication that is going to be affecting a lot of these drivers. It's been affecting a lot of internet with iRacing as well as other esports, where they've actually had to cancel some events because of internet issues. So again, more reports. We'll be waiting for those reports of what they're going to do from this point on. But the racing continues, Lee, as drivers up front, they are still running hard. It's lap 35 as it's lap 36, of 150, as we're running until lap 50 to start of 51, when the yellow will be thrown for the end of stage 1, and then probably more talks of what to do next. As we're looking at Thomas Walter right now, trying to make the charge, to make the pass possibly here. But these 2 front runners, the 20 and the 57, they took tires on the last pit stop, which has enabled them to really pull away and gap themselves from the rest of the field, but almost contact between those 2.
Be careful, boys. They almost got door-to-door there, Walter. Trammell coming out of 4. Trammell will go to the high side, Walter on the inside. As we come across the start-finish line, Trammell will have a slight nose lead going into 1. But, man, they got real close. They're real close there again going into 1, which sends Walter way down low and Trammell way up high. And now they'll sort out with Walter in the lead on lap 37 of 150. But you could tell as they were both going for that same area going into 1 and into 3. And when 2 solid objects try to occupy the same space, calamity can ensue.
As we're also looking at the battling that's going on, this is for 11th place, as these drivers not given an inch. As also we swapped it to the battle for 8th place, where you've got the 11 of Chris Parkerman, as well as the 5 of Dakota Moisey, who both of these drivers trying to have good runs for themselves, but Parkerman involved in our second caution of the day, having a great rebound in 8th place.
Yep, now looking at the 94 of the professor himself, Sean Huffstutler. Huffstutler is in 9th position. He's been up and down this entire 38 laps so far, but been in that top 10. The professor now with a solid 9th place, with Monez right behind him. Monez? What did we decide on?
Monez? It's going to be swapping until we get confirmed on how to say his name right.
Jesse Thornock in that number 14. He is in 7th position.
And all the drivers are in. All the drivers are back logged in, but they are multiple laps down. As Nicholas as Nicholas Crampton, as well as Zachary Crampton. I'm noticing it might be due to the fact that it was the fact that we both have the Soren brothers that got knocked out, as well as the Crampton also being taken out. Sometimes if you're in the same household, internet issues can temper both machines.
That would be a terrible thing too, to be like, man, did you get kicked off? Yeah, did you? Yeah, man.
Oh, I've had that happen to me once, but it was awkward because my brother was one racing, and I was one commentating, where we both just desynced, and it was it's an awkward scenario.
Parkman down to the inside of Thornick, and will overtake 7th position in that Miller Lite machine. Thornick going to try that crossover maneuver, but just does not have the momentum. And Parkman will solidify 7th position. Back up now with a 44. That's going to be Maurice
Go-Million?
That's what it says. Go-Million.
Going
like
for
Chameleon, but with a go.
Going for it on the inside, able to make the pass past the 5, but here comes that crossover move. Just the momentum on the outside these drivers get on the backstretch, so massive, it gives you a chance to really make a pass on the outside or the inside. It just matters on where you want to place that momentum.
It did it to me again. It gets me logged in and everything looks fine, but as soon as I go to switch the camera, it goes to 30 frames a second.
It just says no to you.
Yeah, it really does.
As we're on board with Chris Parkerman right now with that 11 machine, not having that bad of a run right now in 6th place, and a little bit too far to try to utilize the draft to catch the drivers in front of him, but could think about just trying to save his tires, as right now Parkerman, one of the few machines that's running on just fuel alone, has not taken tires just yet, as our front 3 have taken tires, and they are just pulling away from the rest of the field.
They sure are. Is that a 2nd lead now?
That is about almost the 2nd lead. It's the 2nd lead from back to
From
3rd
first
place.
to 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and only about 2/10 between 1st and 2nd, Walter and Trammell.
This Trammell,
is there a
Trammell
full
still
moon tonight
aggressive.
or what?
There could be. Let me look and see. As we're looking at this battle here for 3rd place, Halsey as Rochelle battling back and forth between the 4 and the 1, and sitting and waiting is the 16, just saying, you two duke it out, utilize those tires. We're getting closer and closer to the end of stage 1 as we're on lap 40. Remember, stage 1 comes the end of lap 50 when this caution flag will arise. And then the drivers in the top 10 getting some bonus points for themselves if they go and get into the playoffs, which some of the drivers that are right now in the top 10 looking for playoff potential here. A lot of them have already been wiped out because of the internet issues. That is just so massive. But right now, Austin Halsey, right now running in 3rd place, one of the contenders that could be and has potential to knock out either Dakota Manos or Ryan Farrow, who's going to be one of those drivers that's got to be worrying about, are they going to have a good enough run to stay in the top 16?
So Walterman, Trammell, Halsey, Rochelle, and Kralik, your top 5. Then Parkman, Westfield, Thornick, Huff, Stutler, and Go-Million will round out your top 10, as we are looking at the 16 of Aaron Kralik now. He is in 5th position, a 2.5 behind the leader. And looking at Rochelle and Halsey in front of him. And those two mixing it up a little bit. Rochelle looking to try to maybe start to sniff inside and out there on Halsey.
Yeah, I think Rochelle's just trying to get a momentum to try to push the 4, and looked so aggressive coming out of turn number 4 that it was kind of terrifying to see, trying to bump draft on the front stretch, which is not as preferred as the back stretch. There's a little bit of a curve that goes on through the whole entire front stretch, while the back stretch completely straight for these drivers. So got to be careful trying to bump someone in one of the looser areas that you're going to be dealing with here on the front stretch.
Yep, lap 46, make it 47 of 150 as we come through the front stretch now. Walter will continue to lead with Trammell, 0.3 of a second behind him. Then you've got on your screen Halsey and Rochelle along with Kralik right behind them. That is your top 5. And we turn it down the backstretch now, and those 5 have kind of pulled it out, going back to the 51 of Max Boner.
Boner battling here for the 13th position, actually 14th position, as that's going to be the 19. Patrick Hernandez going to be trying to make the pass, not able to do it on the outside. Boner is able to hold off and try to move past, and possibly going to find himself into the top 10.
Yeah, now the 58 of Ryan Bird. Bird is in 16th position, trying to chase down Hernandez. Monez in 10th, back to Bird in 16th. Instead of trying to chase down Hernandez, Hernandez goes high. Bird's going to look to that inside, see if he can make it stick and overtake maybe that 15th position. They are door to door going down the backstretch.
It's going to be Bird who's going to be trying to make and stick on the inside. And these drivers have been out there on these tires for so long, you've got to be concerned that it's not going to stick and you're just going to drift up in front of the car that is on your outside. But Lee, we're getting closer and closer. We're within a lap or 2 from that stage 1 coming to an end, bringing out our 3rd caution of the day.
Yep, so racing for the stage and those bonus points. Your top 10, Walter, Trammell, Halsey, Rochelle, Kralik, Hartman, Westfield, Thornick, Huffstutler, and Mona is your top 10. So they're the ones looking for those bonus points at stage end. Looking at the 4 now of Halsey. Halsey's got Rochelle right to the inside of him. He's going to drop down right down way low on the apron.
Not able to make the pass as a yellow comes out. Stage 1 has come to an end.
So first stage in the books here with the NAISCC Cup Series, brought to you by M.A Amodeo Trucking. So how big of a advantage is it now for Walter, not only with the stage win, but, working those points?
I mean, this is major for Walter. I mean, Walter right now just trying to get as many points as possible, looking to see where exactly Walter stands points-wise. Walter is actually already locked in, but this is giving Thomas Walter a chance to possibly get his first win of the season, which would be massive points-wise going into the playoffs, because it would put Walter in a better spot in the playoffs, getting a little bit more bonus points moving forward. But now I got a question and see from the admins, are they going to give the waiver rounds to all those drivers that desynced, or will they tell them to just wait it out?
That is the $1 million question, sir.
And if they don't get the waiver round, driver with a lucky dog would be Vincent Sora in the 15 machine.
So that would put one Sora back on the lead lap. Everybody else that fell out still be looking to find their way back on. Yeah, so still 3 laps down.
Yeah, drivers are talking. They're talking in chat, trying to deliberate if they're going to be stretching this or not. This caution to give drivers their laps back. They're still talking about it. But also the possibility of this happening again for these drivers. We still have over 100. We have 100 laps to go. So the potential is still high if it only happened in the first 30 laps for more internet issues to happen.
But that seems like the smart thing to do, though, is push the caution out a few more laps, at least get the ones that fell out back on the lead lap at the end of the field, and then let's go racing.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those just rare moments of, I mean, people know that there is a weather scenario that could be knocking people's powers out, but also from the admin side, would that be fair for all the other times throughout the regular season where drivers have had internet issues and didn't get their laps back? This is going to be a continued issue to be talking about, but it seems like the drivers most likely will not be getting their laps back, but they are still discussing it right now. But up front, Thomas Walter did not pit this time, going to be staying out while everyone else came in to take tires.
Yeah, that's a roll of the dice right there. That's a gamble that I'm not sure is going to pay off.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. When you have the opportunity, Compton staying out to lead a lap, stuff like that. That's one thing. But then staying out after the stage when everybody else came in, you would think you would want to come on in and get those tires as well.
Yeah, he's been out there for 33 laps compared to everyone else that just got new tires, and we'll see if the 57 comes in, and he will. It makes sense to make this pit stop. You cannot be out there on 30-plus old tires. We already saw, Tremmel and Walters climb through the field with those 4 fresh tires on that last long green flag run that we had. Well, everyone else was just felt like they were standing still with the 4 fresh tires, and now everyone going to be on even grounds from here on out.
Yep. So into the pits is the 57. We'll give up the lead. Trammell will move into first with Rochelle in second, Kralik third, Holsey fourth, Thornick fifth. Then Parkman, Westfield, Huff, Stutler, Ferraro,
I believe.
Ferraro. Sounds good to me. And then Go Million. I like that name. Go Million.
We do have an update. Drivers are exiting out of the race due to hearing the word of what's going to happen. Drivers are not getting the wave around to get those laps back. So Jacob Morris and also the Crampton of Zachary and Nicholas, both of them have already desynced and said, hey, we're done for the night if we're not getting our laps back.
Yeah, and it's a strange situation, too, because if, 1 or 2 happen, then, that's on you. But when it's multiple like that, and it was weird that it was mostly people up front, too.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a new victim to that. Joshua Pike going to be another driver that has just been hit with internet issues and now was on the lead lap. We'll be dropping down, but the pace truck getting ready to pull off, and we get to go green.
So pace truck pulls off. We will bring it green at lap 54 of 150 when we cross the line. Trammell and Rochelle in the front row. Kralik Holsey, then Thornick Parkman as we bring it down the line and into one. Trammell in the lead. Rochelle right behind him. Then you got Kralik. Holsey looking to the inside of Kralik. That is a battle for third. And then you've got the 11 of Parkman and the 14 of Thornick. Yeah, and Parkman will pull out into front there, exiting 2.
Thornick's going to be trying to make a move, but possible chance for the lead now as Rochelle to the inside, trying to make a pass and going to be staying low and able to make the move. As now it looks like the 20, a sitting duck there after leading, and that's the one thing that these drivers are gonna have to deal with is if you are leading on these restarts, you're a sitting duck on the back stretch and honestly going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, and he got pushed along there by the 18 of Kralik.
Yeah, Kralik tried to help, but it's difficult to try to help someone when they really don't have the speed. You got to build up that momentum, and it takes about a lap or 2 for some of these drivers if you don't have the draft, which the 20 did not have. As now it's going to be the 16 to the inside. Once again, our leads are probably going to be switching a lot back and forth, as on the inside, we've got a lap car who's making a charge. That's going to be the 98 of Sora, who we saw leading this race before the internet issues kicked in, trying to at least get a lap back the hard way.
Lap 56 of 150.
Able to get 1 lap back. Now 6 laps down is the 98 machine, and proving a point that really Presley was one of the fastest cars out here and probably would be in the lead if had the laps back. But right now, 6 laps down, hoping for a caution to possibly get another lap down with a wave around. But it is a struggle right now for a lot of these drivers.
Thornick and Trammell battling back there for 3rd position. With Holsey looking behind them as we go down into 1. They are door to door. Thornick now trying not to ride up the track. Trammell in that 20. Riding the high line, looking to get that momentum, exiting 2 with Holsey following right behind him. And you see that draft being utilized here.
Yeah, and the draft's so important because you can carry that momentum into these corners, and with the fresh rubber that all these drivers have, it allows them to go down, almost down the yellow line, to try to carry that speed and make the pass and kind of do a little bit of a slide job here at Super Speedway Racing. But looking at all the drivers that disconnected and where they laid in points, a lot of them were in the must-win or potential to point their way into the playoffs. Now we've really only got one contender that's trying to steal a position away, and that's going to be Austin Halsey, who's trying to make a hero move running in 5th place. But if he gets a win, could be stealing a position from some of these drivers who are trying to point their way in. We're already set.
Guess what, fellas? I finally got my stuff at least halfway working.
We can't trust it. We've already seen like it almost was set up.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Rochelle in the lead, Kralik in 2nd, Thornick in 3rd, Trammell 4th, Westfield 5th. As we go into 1, you look at Rochelle. He is working that 98.
Yeah, and this
Dora
is... You don't want to be doing that. I mean, that's a lap car. Why are you challenging so hard with a lap machine? But you gotta... it's such hard racing that you could cost yourself a win here. Luckily, both these drivers already locked in, but you could be costing yourself a chance of more wins and even more bonus points going into the playoffs.
Well, then you also you think about Sora out there in the 98 being multiple laps down, but being as fast as all these other guys. What do you expect him to do? Just to kind of sit back and you know, just let everybody pass him and drive around the back of the field, or do you go out there and you push? Now battle for the lead. Kralik and Rochelle coming down the back stretch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's going to hurt you is Rochelle trying to battle so hard with the 98, but it backfires. Now going to be losing the lead as there goes the 16 to the inside. But, I mean, yes, you want to battle hard with drivers that are quick, but if you're seeing that Sora's wanting to be so quick and aggressive here, let the 98 be aggressive and just linger back, stay behind, save fuel, and possibly save your tires if this thing goes green for a longer stint.
Kralik and Rochelle continue door-to-door through 3 and 4 as they will race it down. Actually, that's not 3 and 4. That's 1 and 2. I'm in a blimp. I'm not on the press box right now, so I was backwards.
Terrified to switch cameras, I see, Lee.
Oh, man, it has messed me all kinds of up. But I'm afraid to try, because I've got the blimp cam at least working correctly. But I'm afraid if I go to switch it again, it's going to jump back down to 20 frames a second. And then it's very hard for me to call a broadcast by watching the broadcast. My brain and eyes don't work well that way, but at least far away in the blimp, this is how I started until I learned how to move cameras in iRacing. But woo! Look at there. As Rochelle slid right up in front of the Trammell. I mean, Kralik.
Kralik, obviously, I would not be happy with the move that Rochelle just put down. Now you got to be worrying about, the 16 out of shape on the entry of 3 and 4, and now we'd be losing in 2nd place. And with the hard racing that we saw there from the 1 and the 16, maybe the 16 used up those tires just a little bit too much, and now backing up could be playing a possum and just saving those tires for a bit. But I'm going to talk about tires all day long, just because if you don't conserve them, you're going to be one of those drivers that's a second or two back from the lead pack after about 20 laps or so.
Yeah, so Thornick will take over 2nd. Kralik moves back to 3rd. Westfield in 4th is now driving right up to the back of Kralik. As we go into 3, looks like the front 4 has, the 16 is squirrely as all get out coming out of 4.
Yeah, not feeling the most comfortable right now. And it could be the fact of feeling like the setup might be a short run setup. Just hoping for the car to tighten up as the run goes on, but it has not done it just yet. It's Kralik just hoping to hang on this 16 machine, but still wiggling out of 2.
Yeah, it's that exit. Something with the exit here with the 16 is just not being copacetic for his ride at the moment as we go through 3 and 4. Kralik's still pulling right up to the back of Thornton. As we exit 4, he was able to keep the tires going straight here.
I mean, we're on board with the 16. You can just see those hands in the corner trying to keep it as steady as possible. But you'll see it here coming off the exit. It's trying to hold on in a little bit of a snappy movement because of the loose sensation. But that time around, probably the most solid we've seen the 16 out of the corner. Maybe just need a little bit more luck for us to be staying on board and seeing the cockpit view.
So we're going to move on back through the field and take a look at some of the other battles that's going on. Looking now at this number 11 of Chris Parkman. Parkman's going to be running in.
Oh, no, they're wrecking in the middle.
Against the
It looks
wall
like-
is Parkman.
Oh, boy, that was a hard lick. And Parkman got involved in that, but I think the driver that got probably one of the biggest damage from that had to be the 2 and the 12, as the 2 has lost his front bumper.
The 2 of Danny Cochran.
Oh, from my end, it looks like it, but he still has it, looks like.
The 51. Coming down underneath now, the 51 of Forner. Forner's in 11th position. Going to slide up in front of Bird.
Yeah, no, that front bumper is gone. The 2 does not have a front bumper. Danny Cochran is just trying to stay on the back bumper of Bird and hoping the draft will just go over the car, as with no front bumper, the draft is going to be dismal, leading and trying to push and break the wind, and now is losing a ton of time to those drivers in front of him. But I went back to rewatch that incident. It just looked like a lot of drivers trying to go for the same real estate there on course coming out of 4, and they just got jumbled up into one another, and it's one of those incidences that just bound to happen here at Michigan, especially with everyone starting to tighten up later in this run.
Looking now at the 19 of Patrick Hernandez, who's running in 14th position. Hernandez running right behind Ferrero. And he's got Sora behind him. Vincent Sora's moved up to 17th position. Martin Morales up to 21st. They're the 2 cars back behind Hernandez. 2 of the guys who got caught up in that the blip. That's what we're going to call it.
I believe we might have been hit with another driver having network issues, as the 14 is gone from the server.
The 14 of Jesse Thornick.
It's one of those things of, this happens in iRacing, where sometimes the virtual world and real life world, they have their debacles that cause some drivers to desync out and not able to come back in. But Thornick's going to be trying to get back into the server, is trying to reconnect right now, 2 laps down, most likely will be 4 laps down when reconnected and back on track.
The 88 of Adam Westfield in 3rd position. Looking at Kralik and Rochelle in front of them. And then the 5 of Dakota Monez will be in 5th position. Monez has got a little bit of traffic building behind him with Parkman, Halsey, and Huff-Stutler.
Yeah, Monez is running in 5th place, and this is not a bad place for the 5 machine. Right now was on the bubble spot and had over a 13-point gap over that of the 4 of Halsey, and Halsey's just been losing track position the longer this run goes on. And this is hurting so far the 4, who was trying to be a last-ditch effort to try to get into the playoffs, running 17th in points, right on track, 7th place.
Parkman to the inside of Monez and will overtake that 5th position with Halsey and Huff-Stutler back behind them. We cross the line. The 11 of Parkman playing a little dippy dodge game there, as he's trying to keep the 5 behind him and prevent that run being gained from the momentum and especially from that draft there down the straightaways.
Yeah, the drivers on the outside trying to carry that draft and the momentum the best that they can. But it looks like that's going to be Monez able to carry the speed, able to get by there of Halsey. I think Halsey really needs to get back into the top 5, possibly a top 3, but tire wear hindering and hurting the 4 machine, who just was not able to really stay in the top 5, and it was one of those drivers that started on this restart up in the top 4, but just dropped all the way back to at points 9th place. Right now running in 7th, trying to get by Monez, but this is not looking good. But luckily there's still a lot of racing to be seen as we're inching closer to the halfway marker.
Halsey in 7th position as we speak, behind Monez, with Huff-Stutler just riding around behind him. The professor now playing professor-type games and just biding his time. And we've seen him do this in multiple different leagues, of biding his time in order to put himself in a perfect position towards the end of the race.
Yeah, Huff-Stutler was one of the drivers that was right on the edge of it. We saw the 94 have a poor showing, would have dinged the 94 out of the playoffs, but with the great showing and the misfortune of a lot of these drivers that have desynced, I believe right now Huffstuffler has clinched a position into the playoffs, and what a great feeling that has to be, knowing that you can run clean, stay in the top 15, and you're good to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, Halsey trying to make that bottom line work. Whoop, he blinked. Stay in the race, sir.
Gotta stay in the server. You didn't know internet was going to be one of the biggest factors here tonight, but it certainly has been. And now the drivers, they have to be on pins and needles, wondering, is my internet going to be next?
Yeah, and back behind them, Huffstutler and Go Million. Go Million's now moved up to 8th position and went underneath Huffstutler.
Huffstuffler is just going to be dropping back and not really trying to pressure, and going to allow some of these drivers to make the moves on the inside. Here comes the 51 as well, trying to make the pass.
Next spotter, looking to the inside. Back behind them will be the 58 of Ryan Bird. He is in 11th. So, as you said, Huffstutler, you know, as long as he can finish in that I've solidified and clinched my playoffs, he's totally fine. Saying, he's saying, I tell you what, guys, if you want to pass me, there's the bottom. Go for it.
Yeah, all that this 94 needs to do is just finish in the top 15, which that is the car that is last on the lead lap. That's going to be Thomas Walter, who has lost the draft of the lead pack and continues to drop back after a great showing at the end of stage 1. It's not looking good for the 57 machine that is so far off the pace.
Yeah. So looking at the 57 now.
We're trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with them. Might have some damage, might have hit the wall possibly. It looks clean, just extremely off the pace. And maybe an adjustment that went wrong under pit road possibly.
Yeah, because Cochran's 15 seconds ahead of him in the number 2.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but right now, I mean, Thomas Walter, who was a car that's last on the lead lap, within about 12 seconds of being a lap down by the 1 machine and having the draft and following suit. This is a great showing for our leader. But issues for the 57 machine, but luckily already locked into the playoffs.
The 12 of Ferrero will be running into 13th position with the 2 of Cochran right behind him. Cochran, as you said, no nose.
Yeah.
We can call him Voldemort.
He lost that nose, I believe, in the first caution of the day, but has been slowly trying to work on it. Luckily able to put on some decent pace, but Cochran obviously too far off the pace to be running with our front runners, but the damage card having fun in the back, just trying to have the best battles they can, as now we're looking at the 19 machine. Trying to make a push here to get into the top 10, as he's caught up to the 15 of Vincent Sora, and Sora 3 laps down, trying his best to possibly unlap himself, but needs a lot more cautions for the 15 machine to possibly have a chance to battle for a win.
Yeah, but Hernandez, you know, he's looking and running high now, but wouldn't it be smarter to get behind the 15 of Sora and go, hey, guys, let's hook up and see if we can make up this 7-second gap that Huffstutler's got over us?
I mean, they could be thinking that, but I think right now Hernandez is just figuring out, hey, let's just keep it clean and not risk it by getting too close to one another. As we've seen some of our leaders, they've gotten extremely close to one another trying to utilize the bump draft, which has helped them keep the speed of highs. But right now, I mean, it's not a must-win scenario. And also, Hernandez is in one of those bubble spots, only had a 3-point advantage over the bubble position of Monez. So feeling like, hey, let's not risk it. Let's just go for a clean race here and try to make it to the end, as it's still a lot of racing to be seen.
Rochelle, Kralik, Westfield, and then you've got Chris Parkman in the number 11. Riding in 4th position. There's Westfield right there in the 88. He is in 3rd position. He riding about 0.8 of a second behind Kralik and a 1.25 seconds behind Kyle Rochelle in the number 1. And Rochelle's just continuing to follow Presley Sword.
Yeah, and that's not a bad move at all. That last lap, though, do want to make a point. Driver in 4th place, Chris Parkman, put down the fastest lap of all the drivers so far out there on track. So this 11 machine has speed, but a little bit too far back to be trying to catch up to our leaders, and possibly could be losing the draft here soon if not able to make a charge quicker here. But that 11 is just getting faster and faster every single time it gets closer to Westfield, and Westfield could be in potential chance of losing that third place position.
And he's starting to sniff that draft now at a half second behind. And see what he does here on the backstretch. As he is trying, look at him just closing in now 0.4 of a second. So using that draft can cut down about 1/10 of a second. And then diving down into the corners. Yeah, still about a half second gap between third and fourth position.
But they're helping each other. They are now cut down by about 2/10 on the two drivers in front of them. So, I mean, yes, there's a little bit of a gap between one another, and it continues to get closer and closer as Parkman got the better entry and exit out of 1 and 2. And these drivers, between within a second and a half of our front two, but they're now going to have to work with one another. But it looks like Parkman deciding it's time to go for me, and now going to be trying to make a pass on the inside.
Parkman to the inside, going to force Westfield up high. Drive it across the start-finish line. They will be nose-to-nose as they come into one. Parkman now will solidify that third position and now be looking to chase down Kralik. Kralik and Parkman running almost identical lap times the last lap.
Yeah, but the issue is the fact that Kralik was the driver being third in line of our front runners, and so able to utilize the draft to keep that time higher than everyone else as Parkman was following Westfield. And now the question of how fast is Parkman trying to be the leader of this second pack?
And then you got Sinchek right behind him, who's just riding along trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Sinchek's got to be careful doing those late crossover moves, especially there with Westfield. But looking at the drivers, it looks like Sinchek might have a lap fresher tires and has been trying to save those tires. Also just trying to make a march forward.
Yep. Parkman was able to pick up 1/10 of a second on Kralik on that lap. Let's go to the 5 of Dakota Monez. Monez is running in 8th position, trying to chase down Forder. Forder is 0.2 of a second in front of him. So, he's definitely got that draft there with Ryan Bird in 9th, Huffstutler in 10th. These guys all grouped together behind also the 4 of Halsey. That's going to be 6th through 10th.
Yeah, and, we talk about how the draft is so important, and it works really well with drivers when you've got 3 cars in line or 2. You're able to really utilize the draft and make a punch through the air and move forward. The issue that we're seeing here, though, is the fact that this pack of drivers that are in line, there might be too many drivers, and they might be carrying too much speed into these corners, which is causing them to really back down their pace, let off the gas a little bit more into turn 1 or into turn 3, which is costing them time overall from catching up to our lead pack. But that last time by, Chris Parkman still quick and still running down our front 2, about to be sniffing at the heels of this draft of our front 2 right now.
And Forder now jumping to the inside of Halsey.
Messing with our producer a little bit, talking about all the different amazing battles here at Michigan. This is what Michigan brings us, is amazing battles from top to bottom throughout the whole entire field. It's so difficult to catch everything that's going on at times. As you see on screen there's also a battle behind these front drivers as it's Bird battling on the high side
with Huffstutler. And tell you what, they're actually hurting themselves.
Oh yeah.
Instead of staying in line and trying to catch up with the rest of this group, they're back there fighting with each other, and now the gap is stretched out to 0.8 of a second between Monez and Huffstutler.
Huffstutler, though, still within the draft. The draft around 7/10 is where you want to be, and that's like right at the edge of having the draft. So still able to have and utilize it as Bird gave a great shove there on the backstretch. And like I said, hopefully they stay in line. But a factor we haven't really talked about, that's going to be pit stops, and these drivers within 4 to possibly 10 laps from their window to think about pitting here. And this is going to get really interesting because pit stops could make you win a race or lose a race. And it's looking like, based on when the stage caution came out, these drivers might have to make another pit stop here unless they know somehow to save more fuel than what they've got in their tank so far.
Yep, so just kind of looking through our field, and everybody is kind of settled out, especially our top 10, Rochelle, Kralik, Parkman, Westfield, Trammell, Foner, Halsey, Moniz, Huff-Stutler, and Ryan Bird. Gomillion love that name, has dropped in back down to 11th position now in that number 44.
Yeah, Gomillion was showing a lot of good speed there for a bit, but seems like has just gone into following everyone else and not trying to push it too hard. The drivers are now communicating on how they want to line up here, possibly coming to the pits, but also just trying to make clean passes so they're not wasting their tires or wasting time staying side by side for too long.
So the 51 of Forder has moved into 5th position and has overtaken Trammell. And now these guys are looking to try to chase down Westfield, who is a little over 4 seconds ahead of Max Forner. Well, I say Forner. It doesn't have an R. It's Foner. What is wrong?
Oh,
Why can't
contact up front, as it looks like Zora as well as Rochelle made contact, and now Parkman as well as the 16 able to capitalize on that mistake, and here they come trying to make a pass for the lead.
Just battling with lap vehicles sometimes does not work out the way you want. And Parkman will now go high on Rochelle. Down the backstretch, looking to overtake the lead on lap 91 of 150 with the NAISCC Cup Series. Brought to you by M.A Amodeo Trucking. Bringing it out of 4. Down low, Kyle Rochelle and the number 1. Battling with the number 11 of Chris Parkman. Parkman will have the lead across the line as that high line continues to hold. Kralik will come up high and now look into the middle.
Yeah, I don't think Kralik's going to be trying to make a pass, just trying to follow the 11, seeing where the speed has been at. But Rochelle, once again, cutting the nose of the 16. That's the second time we've seen that happen. And, we talk about patience sometimes with drivers. How much patience can you keep throughout a race? Now we're past the halfway marker. We'll see if the 16 is just fed up, and we might see the 1 go for a ride.
Yeah, chopped him twice there. So how many more times is Kralik going to allow that to happen before we see the 1 go spinning across the track, as we're now on lap 93 of 150 here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Lee Tidwell, Sam Dyer, and Oz himself, Robert Moya Jr. joining you here with the NAISCC Cup Series. Thank you for joining us on Facebook and YouTube on this wonderful Saturday night. Saturday night's all right. Ain't that a song?
Try to remember. I don't remember if it probably is. There are so many songs out there. Most likely there is.
If not, then I just made one.
Get that copyrighted and trademarked as quick as possible. Watch out. Don't let him steal it from you. As right now, Rochelle feeling stolen. That lead is gone after contact with a lap car that is now costed the 1 machine so much time, and now is gifted the 11 the lead. But we drop back here as we're looking at this battle right now that's going on. That's the 20 machine trying to make a charge, and falling back is the 98 car that is a lap down. Sora was the driver that made contact with our leader that costed so much damage, and honestly is hurting the 98 more than what our leader is. I mean, what our driver in second place is.
Yep, the 5 of Moniz. He will go around Presley Sora. And now looks at the back of Huff-Stutler. Huff-Stutler following Trammell, who is following Alston Halsey in 6th position. So still, that's the thing, is now it's almost a game of leapfrog. Is, do you have the run going into 2 or going into 1 or into 3 to then have that exit of 2 and 4 to make the pass? And we're seeing different areas of the track.
Drivers in pit road. The 16 and the 1 coming into the pits, and this is the start of our pit stops. Green flag pit stops now underway.
So we'll continue on lap 96. As Sam said, we have pit stops that are starting. And now look, Sam, the 11, the leader, Chris Parkman, coming into the pits. And also Westfield's going to follow him as well. How many of the leaders are we going to see come through?
We're expecting a lot of drivers to be coming in here probably in the next 2 laps or so, just because, I mean, we are now at that lap 45 marker. These drivers have been out there on track on these tires. And now looking at how far these drivers have to go on fuel for this next time, I mean, based on this stretch, these drivers could be around 10 to 15 laps short. So a lot of these drivers might be thinking about either going with the strategy of save their fuel, back off their pace a little bit, try to save if they can somehow save that much on laps, or they're going to have to pit earlier than what we've seen already.
Here comes Foner. Here comes Halsey. Here comes the 20. Woo! Hit those brakes, boys. Don't get a speeding penalty. So that's going to put Huffstutler in the lead. The Professor up in front. Go Million in second. They're the only 2 that have not pitted.
Yeah, and they're going to be trying to stay out as long as possible. And these are the 2 drivers that we saw having great runs up front, and then they backed off to around 13th and 12th place for most of this run, trying to save their fuel to try to stretch it a little bit further than everyone else. But it looks like they're both coming in this time by.
Yep. Oh, careful. As Go Million had to get on his brakes pretty hard there. I thought he might run over Huffstutler. And we'll see how this all shakes out. Kralik out of the pits before Rochelle. So if they can make it around, which I believe they will, Kralix will overtake the lead. Exiting 4 now is Kralik, with Rochelle right behind him, and yeah, will overtake the lead. Rochelle second. Parkman will be in third. Westfield into 4th, and then Halsey into 5th.
This is going to be extremely close for these drivers if they can make it. As a lot of these drivers, the ones that went the furthest, they went about 46 laps, and they just came in that last time by. So we'll see if the drivers can possibly stretch it an extra 5 laps, but that's a lot of time because that's 10 miles that you have to save on fuel, which I don't know if any of these drivers have the capacity to do that, because a lot of the drivers, once they get to a certain point, they're going to have to pit for tires, and those tires are going to be so important later on in this race. And also looking at the drivers so far, a lot of them still have at least 1 set of tires left in their pit box.
Yeah, passing lap traffic now. That is the number 2 of Danny Cochran. With no nose, Voldemort himself.
Cochran going to be the first car 1 lap down, but I'm pretty sure he wanted that nose at some point. Had to lose it early in this race.
It's nice to have a nose until you got a dog that their new dog food doesn't agree with them, and then you kind of wish you didn't have a nose.
Yeah, that's true. But then you just get a candle and you can possibly smell that.
Well, I mean, I know they make candles that are supposed to eliminate odors and stuff, but I don't know if they make one specifically for the smell of a black-nosed cur gaseous tummy in the middle of the night. As
you see on screen, Monad's going to be able to make the pass in the 5, and here comes the 51.
Sam didn't even try to entertain me. He's just like, nope, we're going to talk about the race now.
We're going to keep talking.
Our producer's snorting in her ear now. Kralik's in the lead.
I mean, certainly there's a lot of sprays out there that can counteract those smells and try to, contain it so you no longer have to smell it anymore.
They got sprays that smell like that too, don't they? It's kind of like prank spray or something.
Yeah. There's tons of prank sprays.
Looking at the 51 of Max Foner. Foner got a little hornet's nest around him. Halsey in front. Now here comes Moniz on the high side of Foner. Jamel is right behind them. This is 5th through 8th. Ooh, they are very close, the 51 and the 5. Moniz and Foner.
Trying to utilize that side drafting. Both these drivers are through the corner. And with the side drafting, you're trying to slow down the car next to you while also trying to get a little bit of a boost. But I think the biggest thing that we're looking at is the fact that we've got the 4 and the 20, and both of them can pick and choose who they want to help, as both cars in the middle, as Foner as well as Moniz, they're going to be stuck side by side, and they're needing help from either one of drivers, and they split it.
You remember there was a show back in the 80s where the neighbor's name was Boner? Kirk Cameron played in it. Was it what Kirk Cameron was in it?
I think that's a little bit past my my age there.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry that you're 12, but
it's hard.
Owner stays on the inside.
Oh! There was contact back for Foner.
Foner touching that wall. Little kissy kiss.
As you see on screen, the battle for the lead, it is still close. And really the biggest thing that we're seeing here is the fact that Parkman is kind of boxed on the outside, as Rochelle now coming to the inside for the 1 machine and just carrying that momentum so well. And the fact that I'm watching the pace of these drivers, the pace that they're putting down, everyone is really slowed down. It's crossover move.
Yeah, the one trying to cut the nose off once again. Rochelle is not shy. And then he just gets a bump there from behind and a push from the 8. That's Sinchek. He is in 17th. Multiple laps down. And then the 1 now going to go underneath Kralik. Rochelle has got the 8 of Sinchek, pushed him along, and will overtake the lead there.
Help Rochelle, from the lap car.
He doesn't, I mean, his spotter must be real daggum good, because he has come close to taking the nose off of multiple cars here today.
Yeah, there's some programs, I mean, due to the fact that it's the virtual world, you've got spotters that can talk to you, and then you've also got technology that can tell you when you are clear and visually show you so you can cut off these drivers as precise as we've been seeing there from Rochelle. But these are some very close calls that we are seeing now. And most likely, if we're going to see a caution, it might be from our front 3.
Most definitely is. The 11 going to dive down inside. That's Parkman. Parkman to overtake second position with a big energy maneuver there. Right behind the 1 of Rochelle coming out of 2.
He just backed off there. He backed off a little bit, trying to carry that momentum, and that's what gave him the opportunity to make that pass on the 16. And Parkman, waiting and lingering, might be trying to make the pass once again through corner number 3.
You know, when you're on top of the press box, you know which turns are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 because they don't move. When you're in the blimp, you really don't know where you're looking from. And so, yeah, the corners confuse me at times. And I thought we were in 1 and 2. We were in 3 and 4 as we race it through. Now Parkman's going to look to the inside. Door to door with Rochelle going through 3 and 4. They are side by side, nose to nose. The momentum on the high line. Can Rochelle use that to stay even with Parkman and maybe pull out? Man, they were very close there crossing the line. Here we go into 1. Parkman on the inside, Rochelle to the high side. Kralik's behind him going, I'm going to watch you fellas do this. They go through 2 and 3, or excuse me, 1 and 2. Exiting 2, still door to door. And you can still see the momentum on the high line ever so slightly faster than that on the bottom. Rochelle in the lead going into 3.
Yeah, all 3 drivers on the high side, leaving Parkman all by himself on the inside. But the contact is going to get closer and closer as Rochelle's just trying to almost just keep on pinching the car down below to cost them and cause them to back off. And so they don't get the run that they want off the corner.
Kralik is starting to shake a tail feather again coming out of these turns in the 16.
Yeah,
his tires begin to warm up.
Yeah, it's around the same time that he did that last time, about 13 to about 16 laps on these tires. That's when he starts to shimmy and shake a little bit, and then the car starts to settle from there on out.
We're going to race for second, Parkman and Kralik. But not much of a race as we great entrance of the corner there by Chris Parkman in that number 11. Will settle in back into second. Kralik third, Westfield fourth, Halsey fifth. And behind them, Moniz, Huffstutler, Bird, Gomillion, and Walter has moved back up to 10th position in that number 57 machine.
I mean, speaking off pace, actually, it's kind of worked out for that driver as looking through the field, it certainly is going to continue to stay close. But this lead pack, it's interesting just to see because they got now 2 lap cars as Parkman to the inside.
Parkman down to the inside of the one of Rochelle. Going through the corners into the apex as we exit down the front stretch. We'll have to fall back in the line. That inside line, once these tires get warmed up, it is not as fast as the outside, and you have to get that pass made in the entrance of the corner. It's not going to be in the exit. And now Parkman looking to the high side.
Yeah, Parkman did not get the best entry into the corner, but also might be just thinking, hey, get the momentum out of the corner possibly. Give himself a little bit more space to try to carry that speed on the backstretch. It might throw it in here down low.
As we go into 3, Rochelle, Parkman, and Kralik. 1, 2, and 3. They are nose to tail. Whoop, 16 got a little wiggly there. So did the 11 of Parkman. Those back ends are starting to shimmy shake a little bit.
As you know, these drivers certainly all over the track. They're going to be trying to figure out where to find that speed. But of our front runners, certainly is interesting to see Parkman and the way that he's attacking all of these corners and how he's trying to set up possibly for a pass against our leaders.
Looking at the 44, Maurice Gomillion.
Gomillion was battling for 8th place, now kind of in a weight zone as he's a little bit too far back to have a chance to get the draft, a little bit too far. But as I say that, the 2 able to drop back and help a little bit for the 44.
Yeah, so Ryan Bird in the 58 passed the 2. That's Danny Cochran with no nose. Gomillion's going to be able to pick up the draft of the 2, maybe get a Ricky Bobby slingshot and have an opportunity to catch back up with Bird and put the top 9 within drafting distance. Man, the 2 just stayed way high for him. Cochran's like, go ahead, man, go ahead.
Yeah, Cochran was trying his best there in the first half of the race, but understanding, hey, it might be low on power, not trying to interfere with anyone else, and easily gets out of the way of the 44.
So we go through 3 and 4 lap, 114 of 150 to be 115 when we cross the line. Rochelle, Parkman, Kralik, Westfield, and Halsey continue to be your top 5. Let's remind you just real quick the fine sponsors that bring you tonight's broadcast. And they are the ButtKicker and the Gamer 2. Make sure you check them out at thebutkicker.com. Use promo code FreakyFast20 for 20% off your order of the Gamer 2 at thebutkicker.com. Brought to you by the Simbox Store. You can check them out on Facebook at Simbox Store or view their options on their eBay store. The Simbox Store, you really push our buttons. And by M.A Amodeo Trucking, established in the mid-80s, a family-owned and operated company that has proud heritage of trucking in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Amodeo has a culture of pride for country and dedication to its people. M.A Amodeo, see what happens. Lap 116 of 150. And look at the battle up there between the 11 and the 1, Rochelle and Parkman.
There's been contact between both these drivers multiple times, and Rochelle has actually come over the radio saying sorry for the couple of times that they have made contact. So, you know, they're trying to stay as close as possible, but this is making me concerned. We've already seen server and internet issues for these drivers. Netcode, always a factor for these drivers moving forward, and them being this close, a little bit of, air bubble could cost one of these drivers.
Yep, trying to use that side draft as you talked about earlier. That high line still with the momentum, and now they're starting to catch up with the 25 of Martin Morales in 19th position. Woo, man, they are really close coming out of 4.
Yeah, and this is really hurting Parkman being this low down with those tires moving forward.
Yeah, and there's no room for him to come up as the 16 of Kralik gives a nice little shove there to the 1 of Rochelle. And that might be what Rochelle needs to pull out the lead out of 2, and it will be, and the 11 of Parkman will fall back into second position with Kralik in 3rd, and Sinchek in 17th position will be right behind them. 4th position will be Westfield, who is behind Sinchek.
And looking through the field, this is some of the closest racing action everywhere on track. So it's great to see that Parkman as well as Rochelle haven't wrecked each other out just yet. But now you're going to have the lap car Morales in the 25 just lingering. And we'll see if the 25 goes high or goes low onto the apron, as they are still close. Honestly, with the 2 cars battling, it's the 16 that is set up perfectly, saving those tires and just watching these 2 beat and bang off of one another.
Well, and as we talked about earlier, for the 11 of Parkman, you've really got to complete your pass by the time you hit the apex of 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, because once you get past that apex, the higher line is going to have the momentum off the turn, and he hasn't been able to get in front of Rochelle in any of these pass attempts. And as you talked about, Sam, just eating those tires up right at the bottom of that truck.
That's now, we saw the pass there on screen. Rochelle, it's amazing how close this one and how comfortable they're feeling to just drop it right in front of someone. Did it again last corner. We'll see if it happens this upcoming corners, but this one machine, the confidence to just drop it in front of another car's nose, and you feel like, hey, I'm not going to get turned around by doing that. It's very high by the 1.
Parkman with a nice run coming off of 4. See if he looks to the inside. He's going to drive right up to the back of Rochelle, give him a little push there as they're starting to catch up with the 25. Now, Parkman's going to drop down to the inside. Maybe going to try to use Morales as some sort of pick. And then Morales says, I want no part of that. I am going to the apron, sir.
And also getting word that some drivers thinking about pitting here. It's that halfway marker for some of these drivers.
Yeah, fresh tires and a splash of fuel would be very an exciting time for a lot of these guys right now. Kralik looking to press the issue, now getting behind Parkman, giving him a little shove on the inside. Going to leave Rochelle out to dry on the high side. Sinchek will pull up behind them, and then Westfield. But now door-to-door for second is Rochelle and Kralik. Rochelle with the momentum on the high side.
Kralik obviously right now is feeling the pressure of got to make the pass now. If we're going to be starting to pit soon, wants to be that car up in front of this pack when they come into the pits, not feeling like he needs to have the pressure of pit road being perfect. At least if a little mistake happens on pit road, can still be with these front runners.
I don't know what happened with Parkman, but he had the lift or something, because Rochelle and Kralik just zoomed right on past him. Sinchek now coming on the low side. He almost chopped that nose off too. Crossover now by Parkman. Yeah, it's like hungry hippos out there, but nobody's got the ball yet.
As Parkman going to continue to just try to use his lap car, not able to do so. But a lot of these drivers, I mean, they've got to be thinking of some type of fatigue. This has been a long race for these drivers, especially for the ones that have been up front. They've been slicing and dicing so much. Fatigue could be an issue for them coming to these final 25 laps.
So got right at about 27 to go here as you are looking at the number 1 of Kyle Rochelle. He is in the lead. Kralik second, Parkman third, Westfield fourth, Halsey in fifth now. Then Moniz, Huffstutler, Bird, Go Million, and Walter will be your top 10 with Foner right outside in that 11th position.
As right now, Rochelle's just been doing such a great job in this one. I don't think that there's anyone else that really can touch this one machine so far. Doing a great job and trying to, if gets the win, will tie 3 other drivers, both the Soras, Vincent as well as Presley. They both have 3 wins during this regular season, and it's going to be Kyle Rochelle with 2 trying to tie for the most going into the playoffs.
As we come down the back stretch, the 16 of Kralix trying to catch up to the 1 of Rochelle. We're looking at the 11 of Parkman, who is in 4th position, riding behind the 8 of Sinchek, who is in 16th. And then, who is that dropping right up underneath him?
That's the 19 of
Hernandez, Patrick Hernandez.
Hernandez is already pitted, so this 19 machine is going to be trying to make as many charges past all of these lead lap drivers, trying to at least become 1 lap down.
Yeah, Thornock went past Parkman as well. Yeah, and then look, Parkman's coming on down to pit. I wonder if he might have scraped that wall or something, because the way he lost that momentum and how he started falling backwards, it's something wasn't quite right there.
Yeah, heavy damage on that left side. Excuse me, right side of the 11 machine, as well as Ryan Bird, who was running and battling for the 7th place position, had to come into the pits this time by.
Lap 127 of 150. We have 24 laps to go. Rochelle in the lead. Kralik now right behind him as we exit 4. Kralik sniffing that draft. Almost touches that wall.
So much aggression in the 16 right now. Feeling like it is time to go. Seeing drivers able to pass the 1. Feeling like, hey, maybe it's my time to make that pass.
Yeah, because the 19 of Hernandez, he pitted on lap 120, so that's fresher tires. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why he was able to fly on by. But Kralik is just like, you know, I'm tired of sitting back here behind Rochelle and looking at his trunk. I'm ready to go. As we exit 4. We will keep it Rochelle, Kralik, Westfield, Halsey, and Moniz. Huffstutler is... Huffstutler has moved up to 6th position in that number 94.
Also battling for 4th place, it looks like.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Moniz.
Yeah, Austin Halsey in that number 4 and Dakota Moniz and the 5. That is a battle for 4th position. Halsey in the spot at the moment. Moniz is, he keeps sniffing. Look at him close in there at the apex. He's got a good run off of 4. Looked to drop to the inside, but decided instead, I tell you what, Halsey, let's just try to catch up with the rest of the pack. He's just going to push him along right behind them. The 20 of Trammell, who is in 12th position a lap down.
They're about 3 seconds away from Westfields, and they're continuing to lose time on the 88. It just seems like they are just off the pace for the 4 and the 5. Not really able to make any charge forward. They kind of been just stalled out and stuck where they're at for most of this second half of the race.
20 to go here in Brooklyn, Michigan, at the Michigan International Speedway. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. And spending your Saturday evening with me and Sam and Oz himself, Robert Moyer. As we're with the NAISCC Cup Series, brought to you by M.A Amodeo Trucking. This is the M.A Amodeo 300 from Michigan International with, as I said, 20 laps to go. Yeah, Rochelle, Kralix, Westfield, Halsey, Moniz, Huffstutler, Gomillion, Walter, all still have not pitted yet. Ferraro in the 11th position. He has not pitted yet either since around lap 95 to 97 with all these fellas.
Yeah, looking at our front 2, they're about, actually our front 3, probably about 10 laps away from pitting. Everyone else about 9 laps of those that are in our top 8. So we're in that zone where they're going to be having to think about possibly stretching it out as far as they can go and trying to short pit and try to gain as much as possible. But this is risky manners because of all the drivers that have already short pitted on how much time they've gained. Has it been enough? And will our leaders that are going to have to pit later, do they have enough time to catch up to those that have already short pitted?
Looking now at the number 4 of Alston Halsey. Halsey's got the 5 of Monez right behind him. And then you've got the 20 of Trammell, who's a lap down. Trammell now looking to the inside. He pitted on lap 107. So 20 lap newer tires in these two fellas.
Driver that just came into the pits, the 94. It's going to be the professor into the pits for his final time here.
So Huff Stutler into the pits. Running in 9th position. Careful, fellas. Yeah, this is a very interesting race, the way everything has been playing out so far, and then watching the way these pit strategies are working as we still watch the 4 and 5 literally door to door. Halsey and Monez, that is a battle for 4th position. Trammell, as I said, a lap down, multiple laps down in front of them, and man, I don't know if Halsey lifted or what, but Monez just took off, whoop, and shook a tail feather coming out of 4.
Yeah, it certainly was a swap of ideas. Like you said, I think Monez just sent it, and Halsey said, nope, I'll back out of that. They've both been watching the 20 of Trammell, who's just been kind of getting extremely loose out of the corners at points, other times looking solid. I think Halsey decided, you know what, I'm going to go the safe route, back off, and let the 20 be as he is. As Monez said, nope, I'm going to just try to get past this 20 car.
So Monez will be in 4th position, trying to chase down Westfield, who is in 3rd. Westfield is more than 5 seconds ahead of him. So 1, 2, and 3 have really pulled out the leads here. Rochelle continues to lead. Woo, the 16 almost looked like he was dirt tracking coming out of 4.
Certainly a little nervous for both those drivers, but Monez as well as Halsey, both that pulled it into the pits. So now we're starting to see our front 5. They're making their moves now. When will our front 2, though, pit, as they're still right on top of one another?
As they come out of 4, they're going to stay out at least one more lap. Rochelle and Kralik stays out. The 88 of Westfield will stay out as well. So your top 3 stays out. The 44 of Go Million will stay out. The 57 of Walter, he is going to stay out as well. So your top 5 will run it one more time, and let's see what happens. I think Kralik, that's how you say it. I think he's coming in this lap.
Kralik's coming in. Oh, Rochelle seen that move and decides late to come down. Almost hurt the one.
Yeah, it almost did. And then gave up that position going in. Now, you know, it doesn't really matter going down pit road, but it gives Kralik the time to get in there and go ahead and get those tire changes started, as Rochelle had to roll into the pits back behind him. The 88 comes in as well, Westfield.
Go Million also just came in this time by, I think it's the 12 is the last car to come into the pits, but about to go a lap down. So this is now when things are going to look really interesting, as Thomas Walter, one of the last cars to pit.
Yeah, Walter says, I ain't done yet, fellas. He's running it down the backstretch. Walter has an 8.5 second lead over second place Chris Parkman.
Looking at the drivers on their pit stops, the 11 and the 16 went with 2 tires, while the 1 of Rochelle went with all 4, and that is a huge deficit. 5 seconds needs to be gained here. Will the 2 tires win over the 4?
That's a big gamble for a lot of different reasons. We need to see how that is going to play out. As you said, now 5.8 second gap between Rochelle and Kralik.
Thomas Walter's still out there on track, but Parkman Parkman right now has a 7, almost an 8-second lead over Rochelle. This is going to be extremely close, but the 16 should catch up, but that's a 2.2-second difference as well. I mean, this is going to get extremely close here as we're getting closer and almost 10 laps to go.
We're watching the 11 right now. Chris Parkman in second position. Still an 8-second lead by Thomas Walter. So, he there's no way he's got 11 laps of gas left.
Walter's in.
So Walter comes in, is going to put Parkman in the lead as he comes across the start-finish line now. Parkman, Kralik, Rochelle, Foner, and Westfield should be your top 5, depending on what Walter does in the pits in that 57. Does he take 2? Does he take 4?
The one's got help right now. I'm looking at that. He's got a lap car helping him. That's going to be the 8 of Sinchek, excuse me, who's going to be trying to make that move. But Parker has lost the lead. It goes to the 16. And now can those two try to work with one another if possible? But that is a major gap. I think there's time for Rochelle to catch up to the 16.
Yeah, because right now Parkman has Cochran right behind him, trying to catch up with Kralik in first position. 1.2 seconds is the gap there. Rochelle now down 5.5 seconds behind Kralik. Make that 3 seconds behind Parkman.
Because within 5 laps, I mean, these tires are going to drop off for taking 2 compared to the 4 tires that Rochelle's going to have. So it's going to be extremely close once you get close to the end. Also, the 16 doesn't have any help, as the 1 does.
So we're going to watch the 1 of Rochelle as he comes out of 4. I'm interested to see the deltas here between the cars and the speeds. As he was a 1.1 second faster than Parkman and 0.3 of a second faster than Kralik.
Here's the biggest thing, though. I'm watching the time. It once was close where they were even on times, but each lap, it's about a 10th gets added on to how much time that Rochelle is gaining. So it was only about 0.3 this time. It could be 4 to a half a second each lap moving forward. And also, how well will lap traffic be? Is the 2 pinching the 1 a little bit there?
Yeah, Voldemort was not out of the way very fast, but with Sinchek right behind Rochelle and literally pushing him down these straightaways at times. 6 to go. Might have enough time to catch Parkman. I don't think he's got enough time to catch Kralik.
It was a half a second that last time. It's gone from about 0.2, 2 laps ago, 0.3 last lap, and this time by 0.5 was gained. The Rochelle is gaining enough time. Yes, it is going to be close, but I think if each lap goes on by, this 1 might be right on the bumper. It's going to be extremely close getting to the end.
Powered by Chris Parkman. Kyle Rochelle now in second position. Sinchek should get the assist award after this race for just pushing Rochelle now into second position, 3.8 seconds behind Kralik.
Last time by it was only 0.3, so that it wasn't the gain that was needed for the 1. This is a good showing for the 16. 2 tires might have been the biggest move to win this race.
Coming through 3 and 4. Sinchek will continue to push Rochelle. He's trying to get to the back of him to give him that bump draft, but by the time he catches up, they're ready to enter 1 or enter 3, and he's not able to really give him that shove that he wants. Right there is another example. Try to give him that shove, but almost too late.
Lee, it's not looking good. That last time by, only a 10th was gained. It's losing time now to where the tires are equaling out. That advantage that the one had with 4 fresh tires compared to the 2 tires, it might have equaled out when it's too late. And now it's looking like the 16 has made the move of the race here.
Rochelle out of 4. Sinchek is just trying to stay as close as possible to be able to give him that bump. As we watch him come close to 1, here he comes. Sinchek, whoo, man. He might end up spinning Rochelle if he's too late. And Rochelle's already making that into the turn and is not parallel with where Sinchek is on the bump. This is getting very, very close, and it was still now a 3.7 second gap. Kralik has evened out the time difference and running identical lap times.
Yeah, this is major, and what a move this was. The question of could Rochelle gain enough time? I don't think it is. It's just not enough time anymore. 2 laps to go, and there's plenty of space between the 2 and 3 seconds.
And look right in front of Kralik. He's got Vincent Sora in front of him. And if he's able to pull up, and look, he's caught that draft of Sora. So that's going to make him go even faster. Going to the inside of Sora now is going to put a buffer, another buffer between him and Rochelle. And it's going to be 1, 2, go across the line. It is Aaron Kralik's race to lose, with now a 3.8 second gap between him and Kyle Rochelle, with Vincent Sora between them. Sinchek, as I said, man, the Scottie Pippen of the race, really pushing Rochelle, but not going to be able to make up that time, even though it has dropped to 2.8 seconds. So he's got a second on him, but not enough laps left. Here he goes around 3 and 4, Aaron Kralik. And that number 16, exit 4, keeps it steady, points the wheel straight, and will become the winner here at Michigan International Speedway. Rochelle will come across the line in second. Parkman will come across in third. Monaz in fourth. And then Westfield in the number 88 comes across now in fifth position. And that is your unofficial results here from Michigan.
Man, that was what a move. With 12 laps to go, they had to come into the pits, and 2 tires stuck it out. And also, you got to think that gap that Rochelle lost, also had to think about the pit road stop. Lost time because it had a longer pit stop, and also had a worse entry into pit road that cost even more time for the one. Just mistakes on that last pit stop cost the one this win.
So I know that they are talking about not posting anything until they have a driver's meeting. So our unofficial results at the end tonight might change before next week, and we'll give you the rundown next week as we watch Kralik's in that number 16 coming through 3 and 4. He is your winner this evening, with Rochelle second and Parkman in third. And as Aaron Kralik brings it to the start-finish line for his celebratory donuts, just like he's Homer Simpson, we will throw it to a quick break. When we come back, we will have your podium finishers, Aaron Kralik, Kyle Rochelle, and Chris Parkman in the booth with me and Sam in just a moment here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting in the NAISCC Cup Series, brought to you by M.A Amodeo Trucking. We'll be back in just a few moments. And back here at Michigan International Speedway with the NAISCC Cup Series. Can't get Chris Parkman in the booth at the moment. So we're going to go to our second place finisher, Mr. Kyle Rochelle. Kyle, it's Lee in the booth. You got a copy, sir.
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's just another wonderful day. Excellent race here tonight at Michigan. And it seems like you pretty much had the strategy down until that last pit stop. So let's talk about before the last pit stop, what happened during the last pit stop, and then trying to chase down Kralik there at the end. So what was your strategy going into this race up through and to the last pit stop?
Well, I didn't think I was going to qualify 18th first off, but we made our way up there, and as the race went on, we were getting faster and faster. And then, unfortunately, they had that glitch or whatever, and a lot of fast guys got knocked out. So I don't know if we would have been where we are if had that not happened, but we were fast until I thought I had Aaron. He just made a nice pit stop there, 2 tires, and just didn't have enough time.
Yeah, and the 2 tires versus 4 tires, but it looked like also that you might have been thinking about pitting another lap on, and then
yeah, my teammate was behind me, and we were talking strategy, and he was going to try to push me, regardless. And then I saw Aaron pit, and I got nervous, and I called it in there, and I thought he was speeding, but he got lucky there, and he just made a nice call. That's all it is. He beat me.
Yeah, and then the 2 tires versus 4 ended up with a 5-second difference, and not quite able to catch it up there. But you had a lot of help from the 8 pushing you along there.
Yeah, always nice when you have a teammate behind you. Unfortunately, he was a lap down, but
gotcha. Well, congratulations on that second place finish. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to say hello to or give a shout out to here?
Well, I would have really liked to get the first win as you guys broadcasting, but can't thank the whole RS Racing team enough. DBI Construction Consultants. Just gotta say congratulations to Aaron. He drove a good race.
Awesome, sir. Well, congratulations on that second place finish, and we'll kind of see what happens after the meetings, and hopefully have you back up here next week.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. That's Kyle Rochelle. He is your second place finisher. And now let's bring up your winner here from Michigan, Aaron Kralik's in that number 16. Aaron, it's Lee in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yes, I do, sir.
Man, excellent race for you this evening. Some great strategy, and especially the 2-tire pit stop. Take me through your race.
Well, first off, I do want to say it is unfortunate what happened earlier to the other drivers, the strong competitors earlier. I do want to point that out. iRacing had a little problem. But besides that, I just wanted to have a nice, clean race. Just try to stay within the draft of Kyle and Chris. They were fast in the long run, but I knew if I could just stay in their draft that something good could happen. And I was noticing after each and every pit stop, I could get my left sides were not that bad. So my last stop, I just had the crew fill it up to the end and 2 tires, and she stuck. And she had enough speed to get around Chris, which I'm happy about. I'm glad to bring the tool car home for the second win of the season, man. This is something special. I love Michigan, and man, these guys, they're fast. I'm just a little overwhelmed, man.
Completely understandable. Now, you talked about the two tire stop there at the end with Rochelle taking 4 tires. That puts some gap there. And then also, we just got through talking with him. He was going to try to push it another lap, and then saw you coming in when you took your last pit stop. That's when he decided, well, I better take mine now as well. Ended up behind you coming in the pit road, lost more time. It was a 5-second differential, but just not quite enough laps for him to make it up with 4 tires versus the 2. Do you believe that's what really won you the race, was that 2-tire decision?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, 2 tires at Michigan here. It's a little slower than 4, but you can still, that last, 13, 14 laps, I was going just pedal to the metal, no lift. But whenever I was coming in, I saw him dart down a little late. So I saw that opportunity so I gassed it up a little bit and just barely made speed limit at the limiter or at the line.
So, last question that I got for you, and because you're the winner, I get to ask you this. It looked like somewhere between lap 13 and 15 after new tires, that back end started getting a little wiggly coming out of 2 and out of 4. Is that where that tire started plateauing at?
I would have to say yes. Coming out of 2 for certain towards the end of that race, the right front out of 2 was really pushing. It was pushing all night coming out of the corner. But this one a little bit more since I was going full throttle and I had worn out left sides. But I managed her pretty well, I want to say. Kept her out of the wall, but yeah, around there the tires would plateau a little bit. 3 and 4, the rear end would step out, but yeah, 1 and 2 is pushing on exit.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations on your victory here at Michigan. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to say hello to or give a shout out to that might be watching?
Well, who's ever watching, whoever I shared on Facebook, if you're watching, hello. But I want to have a special shout out to all the drivers, the co-owners, admins, just everyone who makes the league run, and you guys as well. First race here, and I'm gonna have to watch through again because my internet's poop. But I'm gonna watch through the broadcast. But yeah, I'm just so excited God, I can't speak. But I'm just so excited to finish off the regular season with a win, man. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, you've got victory tongue, and that's totally acceptable on a regular season finale victory like tonight. So congratulations, sir. We look forward to seeing you next week. And once again, congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you, sir.
And that's Mr. Aaron Kralix at number 16, your winner tonight here at Michigan for the NAISCC Cup Series, as we bring you the final unofficial results of this evening. Aaron Kralix will be your victor by a 2.837 second margin over second place Kyle Rochelle. Third will be Chris Parkman. Fourth, Dakota Monez. Fifth will be Adam Westfield. Sixth, Austin Halsey. Seventh, the Professor Sean Huffstutler. In eighth, Maurice Gomillion. And ninth, Max Foner. In 10th, James Trammell. 11th, Ryan Bird. Finishing in 12th will be Thomas Walter. In 13th, Patrick Hernandez. 14th, Ryan Ferraro. In 15th, Danny Cocker. In 16th, Vincent Sora. 17th, Tom Sinchik. In 18th, Jesse Thornock. 19th, Martin Morales. 20th, Presley Sora. In 21st, Joshua Pike. 22nd, Jacob Morris. 23rd, Zachary Compton. And 24th, Nicholas Compton. Some of those bottom finishers, victims of that unfortunate iRacing / internet service provider issue that even I was caught up in there, Sam. But a great race here at Michigan tonight for the Cup Series.
Yeah, it was a fabulous race that came down to strategy. And usually when Michigan comes down to a long green flag run at the end, strategy, either fuel or tires, is the way to go. And it was that 16 of Aaron able to get it done there at the end.
Yep, and that will, man, my thing's all messed up. That will do it for us tonight. We're going to turn it over to Oz himself, Mr. Robert Moyer, the man behind the curtain that brings all the great action you see on your screen. Robert, great race here. Great debut for us, even though it was race number 12 and last race of the regular season for the NAISCC Cup Series. But, man, I'm looking forward to the playoffs.
I agree, yeah, with all the little technical problems that we had here tonight with the debut. It was a good race, and it was great calling with you, Lee and Sam. Thank you very much for joining up in the booth here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But, well, hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. If you're new here to Freaky Fast on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're on the Facebook side, if you don't mind hitting that follow and the bell button, so every time we go live here all week with a whole bunch of different co-announcers, and, man, we got so much going on the weeks here at Freaky Fast. So don't miss any of the action. But we're going to get ready to pack up our stuff. And guess what? We're going to be at the Adrenaline iRacing League tomorrow, 6:30, with Zach Hall, Lee Tidwell, calling the action. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. But until then, we want to say to everybody, God bless everybody. Love yous all. Peace out.